$6 billion vanished, not into thin air but into a lie. It was one of the largest mining scandals in history, a meticulously crafted deception that ensnared investors, governments, and some of the most respected names in the global financial markets. This isn't just a story about fraud. It's a cautionary tale about unchecked ambition and the seductive power of a dazzling promise. Our narrative begins in the early 1990s, far from the polished boardrooms of Toronto or New York, deep in the heart of the Indonesian jungle, on the island of Borneo. Here, a small, struggling Canadian mining company named Bre-X Minerals was about to make a discovery that would stun the world. Bre-X was a penny stock, trading for mere cents. Its founder, David Walsh, a charismatic but often overlooked entrepreneur, had a knack for sniffing out potential. His latest venture, a gold prospect near the Busang River, seemed like another long shot, until a geologist named John Felderhoff joined the team. Felderhoff, a veteran in the mining game, brought on Michael de Guzman, a Filipino geologist with experience in the region. De Guzman was tasked with overseeing the initial drilling and core sampling at Busang. His early reports, however, were surprisingly modest, typical for a new exploration site. Then something shifted. De Guzman's samples began to show increasingly rich gold concentrations. Not just good, but astonishingly good. He claimed to have found a true geological anomaly, a massive gold deposit unlike almost anything seen before. Word of the Busang discovery began to trickle out, and the market, always hungry for a new gold rush, started to take notice. Bre-X's stock price, once negligible, began a slow, then rapid ascent. Investors poured in, captivated by the promise of untold riches. The numbers were staggering. Initial estimates suggested a gold reserve of 30 million ounces, then 50 million. Soon, analysts were projecting over 200 million ounces of gold, potentially making Busang the largest gold deposit in the world. Bre-X's market capitalization soared to over $6 billion. The company became a darling of the Toronto Stock Exchange. Everyone wanted a piece of Bre-X. Major financial institutions, pension funds, and individual investors alike bought in, driven by the compelling narrative of a small company striking it rich in an unprecedented way. But beneath the glittering surface, a dark secret was brewing. The incredibly rich gold assays from Busang were, in fact, a carefully orchestrated fraud. Michael de Guzman, the man on the ground, was allegedly salting the core samples. Salting is an old trick in mining. It involves adding gold dust, often panned from local rivers or bought from artisanal miners, to actual core samples to artificially inflate their perceived value. De Guzman, it's believed, was doing just that, painstakingly adding gold to each sample before it was sent for analysis. The method was ingenious in its simplicity and audacity. De Guzman reportedly had access to gold collected from local streams. He would then meticulously apply this gold to the drill core using various techniques, including mixing it with pulp before assaying. To maintain the illusion, de Guzman would often personally transport the samples, ensuring they never left his control until they were securely delivered to the assay labs. This was a critical component of the deception, preventing any independent verification of the raw material. The sheer scale of the fraud required immense coordination and nerve. How many people knew? Was it a lone wolf operation or a conspiracy involving others at Bre-X? These questions would plague investigators for years, with no definitive answers ever fully emerging. Doubts, however, began to surface. Some geologists expressed skepticism about the incredibly uniform distribution of gold throughout the deposit, a geological rarity. But in the gold rush fever, these whispers were largely ignored, drowned out by the roar of rising stock prices. Then came the involvement of Barrick Gold, a major player in the mining industry. They were interested in a joint venture with Bre-X, but negotiations were fraught with political complexities in Indonesia. Eventually, another giant, Freeport-McMoRan, entered the picture. Freeport, known for its rigorous due diligence, insisted on conducting its own verification drilling at Busang. This was the moment of truth. On March 19, 1997, Michael de Guzman, the man at the center of it all, reportedly fell from a helicopter en route to the site. His death was officially ruled a suicide, but many questions remain. Was he pushed? Did he jump to escape facing the inevitable revelation? Or was he already ill, as some suggested? Whatever the cause, his death cast a long, ominous shadow over the entire Busang operation. Just days later, Freeport's independent assay results came in. They were devastating. The gold concentrations were insignificant, a tiny fraction of what Bre-X had claimed. The $6 billion Busang gold deposit was a mirage. It simply wasn't there. The news hit the market like a tsunami. Bre-X stock plummeted, wiping out billions of dollars overnight. Investors lost life savings, pension funds were decimated, and the Canadian financial establishment was left reeling, its reputation severely tarnished. Investigations launched by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Ontario Securities Commission followed. John Felderhoff was eventually charged with insider trading, but was later acquitted. David Walsh died of an aneurysm in 1998, never facing charges. The Bre-X scandal exposed critical vulnerabilities in the mining industry's due diligence processes. It highlighted the dangers of relying on unverified data and the powerful allure of a story that seems too good to be true. The lessons learned were painful, but necessary. Today, the name Bre-X remains a byword for corporate fraud and market manipulation. It serves as a stark reminder that even in an age of advanced analytics and global oversight, the human elements of greed and deception can still bring down empires built on sand. The Busang jungle, once the epicenter of a multi-billion-dollar dream, now holds only the echoes of a colossal lie. The gold, it turns out, was never truly there. Explore another tale of ambition and deception in our next deep dive into corporate history.